2026 is far off? Think again, because what you are living through right now is not random, not accidental, and not temporary. The astrological shifts already in motion are laying down a foundation that will shape your reality not just for the next year, but for the next several decades. And the truth is, most people won't recognize the significance of this moment until long after it has passed. But you are here now, and that matters. As I speak these words, the calendar reads early 2026 energy is already active, even if the year itself has not fully arrived. Astrology does not wait for the page to turn. The universe moves on timing, not on human labels. And right now we are standing inside a long echo that began years ago, quietly, decisively, and irreversibly. Many of you watching this are feeling it already. A low hum beneath your daily life. A sense that the old motivations no longer work the way they used to. You may still be functioning, still showing up, still doing what's required of you. Yet something inside knows that the rules have changed. Not dramatically, not loudly, but permanently. This is where the story truly begins. In December of 2020, when Jupiter and Saturn formed a historic conjunction at 0 degrees Aquarius, a cycle ended that had been running for over 200 years. That moment marked the close of an Earth-based era and the beginning of an air-based one. In simple terms, humanity began shifting from material dominance to informational, relational, and energetic systems. And whether you realized it or not, your life was pulled into that shift immediately. Think back to who you were in 2020. Think back to what you believed was stable, your sense of security, your relationship to authority, your trust in systems, timelines, and guarantees. For many, those beliefs cracked open suddenly. For others, they eroded slowly, but no one emerged untouched. The Great Conjunction was not just a cosmic event. It was a seed planting, and 2026 is one of the first years where we begin to see what kind of world those seeds are growing into. Since 2020, we have watched technology accelerate beyond comfort, community redefine itself beyond geography, power shift away from centralized structures and into networks, platforms, and collective voices. At the same time, we have seen confusion rise, overload, mistrust, constant pressure to adapt faster than the nervous system is designed to handle. This is not failure. This is initiation. The universe is not asking you to keep up. It is asking you to recalibrate. As we move closer to 2026, the astrological landscape intensifies. The themes that were introduced during the Great Conjunction. This is not a new chapter. It is a deepening one. And that distinction matters. Because what is being tested now is not your ability to start over, but your ability to let go of what you are unconsciously carrying forward. Many viewers at this moment are standing at quiet thresholds. You may feel less reactive than you once were, but more internally alert. Less interested in surface-level wins, yet more sensitive to what feels misaligned. You might be questioning goals that once defined you, or feeling strangely detached from identities that used to feel solid. This is not confusion. This is discernment being born. The Jupiter-Saturn echo continues to unfold through the systems of your life. How you relate to time, how you relate to work, how you relate to your own authority. The old model rewarded endurance, obedience, and external validation. The new model, which begins to take real shape between now and 2026, rewards clarity, adaptability, and internal alignment. Here is the prophetic insight you need to hear clearly. This phase is not about expansion through force. It is about refinement through restraint. The universe is watching how you respond, not how fast you move. Every time you pause instead of panic, every time you choose integrity over urgency, you are aligning with the long arc of this cycle. What should be avoided now is reactive decision-making, rooted in fear of being left behind. The air era does not punish slowness. It punishes unconsciousness, rushing into trends, identities, relationships, or roles that are not anchored in truth will create instability later. The ripple effect is long, and every choice you make now travels farther than you think. Quietly aligning during this period is your relationship to systems. Systems of money, systems of information, systems of energy exchange. You are being taught how to participate without being consumed, how to belong without dissolving yourself, how to stay informed without being overwhelmed. These are not small lessons. They are survival skills for the decades ahead. By the time we reach the full energetic threshold of 2026, the world will not suddenly transform overnight. Instead, something more subtle will occur. You will look back and realize that your internal compass has shifted, that what you tolerate has changed, that what you chase has changed, that what you fear has lost some of its power over you. And this is how the Great Conjunction truly fulfills itself. Not through spectacle, but through quiet rewiring. Not through collapse alone, but through conscious adaptation. If you feel tired in a way that rest doesn't fix, it's because you are metabolizing a new era. If you feel called to simplify, to declutter, to reduce noise, it's because your nervous system is learning a new frequency. And if you feel a growing intolerance for what feels false, performative, or misaligned, trust that instinct. It is ahead of the timeline, not behind it. As we move forward in this series, we will explore how deeper forces, especially Pluto's long journey through Aquarius, will reshape power, identity, and freedom at a generational level. But before we go there, understand this. The ripple has already begun. You are not late. You are not early. You are exactly where this moment requires you to be. Stay with me. What comes next explains why this quiet discomfort you feel is not a warning, but a preparation. If Chapter 1 explained the ripple, this chapter explains the current beneath it. Because while Jupiter and Saturn set the direction of the era, Pluto decides what survives it. And right now, Pluto has crossed into Aquarius, a placement that does not shout, does not rush, and does not negotiate. It dismantles from the inside out. As this message reaches you, we are moving through early 2026 energy, and Pluto is firmly activating the long arc of its Aquarian journey. Pluto does not operate on yearly timelines. It works on generational ones. This is why what you are feeling may not have a clear cause. A pressure without a visible source. A sense that the rules of power, influence, and belonging are quietly dissolving. Pluto in Aquarius is not about destruction for spectacle. It is about removing what no longer serves collective evolution. even if that removal feels uncomfortable at first. Aquarius governs systems, networks, technology, ideologies, and the invisible agreements that hold societies together. Pluto exposes where those agreements are outdated, corrupt, or hollow. Many viewers right now are experiencing a subtle shift in how they relate to authority. You may be questioning who truly deserves your trust. Institutions you once relied on may feel less solid. Leaders, experts, or systems that once felt untouchable are now being examined, challenged, or quietly abandoned. This is not rebellion for rebellion's sake. This is discernment awakening. Here is the emotional mirror. You may feel simultaneously empowered and disillusioned, hopeful about the future, yet unwilling to blindly follow anything anymore. This paradox is not confusion. It is maturity. Pluto in Aquarius does not ask you to destroy systems. It asks you to see them clearly. What is being tested during this phase is your relationship to power. Not just external power, but internal power. Where do you give it away unconsciously? Where do you comply out of habit instead of alignment? Where have you confused belonging with self-erasure? These questions are not theoretical. They are shaping your next decade. Pluto's slow burn is deliberate. Old hierarchies do not collapse overnight under this transit. They erode. They fragment. They lose relevance. Meanwhile, new forms of organization begin to emerge quietly. Decentralized communities, peer-to-peer networks, collective intelligence replacing singular authority. This is not chaos. This is rebalancing. What should be avoided now is clinging to systems simply because they are familiar. Pluto in Aquarius will not reward nostalgia. It will not protect outdated power structures just because they once worked. If you find yourself defending something you no longer believe in just to feel safe, pause. That instinct is the very thing being refined out of the collective psyche. At a personal level, this transit reshapes how you define freedom. Freedom is no longer escape. It is agency. It is the ability to participate without being owned, to connect without being controlled, to contribute without disappearing. Many people will mistake this period as isolating. In truth, it is redefining community at a soul level. Generationally, Pluto in Aquarius leaves an imprint that lasts long after the transit ends. Younger generations born under this energy will not tolerate systems that operate purely on dominance. They will instinctively question why power is centralized and why access is restricted. And this shift does not require confrontation. It happens through irrelevance. Systems that do not evolve simply lose engagement. If you feel a growing urge to step back, observe, and reassess where you invest your time and energy, honor that instinct. This is not withdrawal. It is recalibration. Pluto teaches through subtraction before it reveals what is essential. There is also a spiritual dimension to this transit that is often overlooked. Aquarius governs the collective mind. Pluto, moving through this space, exposes unconscious beliefs that have guided humanity for centuries. Ideas about worth, productivity, success, identity. Many of these beliefs are being quietly dismantled, not through force, but through exhaustion. They simply stop working. Here is the prophetic guidance for this phase. Do not rush to replace what is falling away. Let the empty space teach you. The universe is not asking you to rebuild yet. It is asking you to witness what no longer belongs in the future you are moving toward. What is quietly aligning now is your capacity to hold complexity without panic, to sit with uncertainty without filling it with noise, to trust that clarity arrives after the purge, not before it. This is advanced spiritual maturity, even if it doesn't feel comfortable. Pluto in Aquarius rewards those who can see beyond personal gain and into collective consequence. Every choice you make now echoes outward. How you communicate, how you collaborate, how you resist manipulation. These are not small acts. They are the scaffolding of the world being built. As 2026 approaches, you will notice that power no longer announces itself the way it used to. Influence becomes subtle. Authority becomes relational. Truth becomes something you feel in your body before you can explain it intellectually. This is not the loss of structure. It is the evolution of it. If you have felt like you are shedding versions of yourself without fully knowing who you are becoming, you are aligned with this transit. Pluto does not reveal the new identity until the old one has dissolved completely. Trust the process. Nothing essential is being taken from you. In the next chapter, we will explore Uranus entering Gemini, a transit that electrifies the mind and radically reshapes how information, truth, and communication operate in this new world. What you think you know is about to be challenged, and what you learn to question will become your greatest strength. There are moments in history when the way humans think changes permanently, not because of one invention, one revelation, or one event, but because the mental operating system itself updates. Uranus in Gemini marks one of those moments. And as we move deeper into the energetic landscape leading into 2026, this transit becomes impossible to ignore. Uranus is the awakener. Gemini is the mind. Together, they do not whisper. They stimulate, disrupt, and rewire. Yet the disruption is not chaotic by design. It is corrective. Uranus in Gemini arrives when old ways of processing information can no longer support the speed and complexity of the world being formed. If you feel mentally overstimulated right now, you are not imagining it. Many viewers are experiencing racing thoughts, sudden insights, rapid shifts in perspective, or an inability to tolerate shallow narratives. At the same time, focus may feel fractured. Attention spans shorten. Silence becomes harder to access. This is the emotional mirror of Uranus activating the collective mind. As we move through early 2026 timing, the universe is testing discernment more than intelligence. Knowledge is no longer rare. Wisdom is. The volume of information increases, but clarity must be cultivated intentionally. This transit does not reward those who consume the most data. It rewards those who can synthesize, filter, and intuit truth beneath noise. Uranus in Gemini radically redefines communication. Language evolves. Platforms shift. How we speak, write, teach, and learn changes form. Linear thinking gives way to networked thinking. Multi-perspective awareness becomes necessary for survival, not just success. The mind is being trained to move laterally instead of hierarchically. What is being tested now is your relationship to truth. Not absolute truth, but perceived truth. Where do your ideas come from? Who benefits when you believe them? Are your thoughts inherited, conditioned, or chosen consciously? Uranus does not destroy belief systems out of cruelty. It exposes their wiring so you can decide what still belongs. This is also a period where narratives fracture. Multiple versions of reality coexist. For some, this feels destabilizing. For others, it feels liberating. Both responses are valid, but only one leads to growth. Resisting mental evolution creates anxiety. Allowing curiosity creates adaptability. What should be avoided during this phase is intellectual rigidity. Certainty becomes a liability when the landscape is shifting. Holding on to opinions simply because they once felt safe will create friction. Uranus in Gemini favors those who can say, "I'm willing to update my understanding." There is also a shadow to this transit that must be acknowledged. Misinformation, manipulation, and cognitive overload increase. The mind becomes a battleground. This is not accidental. It is part of the test. Can you slow your thinking without shutting down? Can you question without becoming cynical? Can you stay open without becoming gullible? Here is the prophetic guidance. This phase isn't about knowing more. It's about listening differently. The universe is training you to hear subtle signals beneath loud narratives. Your intuition becomes a filter. Your body becomes a compass. When something is true for you, it resonates. When it is not, it agitates. Uranus in Gemini also unlocks creative intelligence. Breakthrough ideas arrive suddenly. New ways of expressing yourself emerge without effort. Writing, speaking, teaching, and storytelling take on new forms. Many viewers may feel called to share ideas, insights, or perspectives they once kept private. This is not ego. It is alignment. At a collective level, education systems evolve. Information becomes decentralized. Learning becomes lifelong rather than linear. The idea of expertise shifts from authority to relevance. Those who can translate complexity into clarity become invaluable. Personally, this transit asks you to re-evaluate how you consume information daily. What you read, what you watch, what conversations you engage in. Mental hygiene becomes as important as physical health. Overexposure leads to anxiety. Intentional intake leads to empowerment. If you feel drawn to silence more often, honor that pull. Silence is not emptiness under Uranus in Gemini. It is integration. The mind needs space to reorganize itself. Without pauses, insight cannot land. As 2026 approaches, communication becomes faster, but meaning becomes more precious. Words carry weight again. Listening becomes an act of respect. And those who can bridge differences through thoughtful dialogue become stabilizing forces in an overstimulated world. In the next chapter, we will move from the mind to the spirit, as Neptune enters Aries and begins a new cycle of inspired action, courage, and redefined identity. What you believe will soon ask to be embodied, and that changes everything. After the mind has been awakened, the spirit demands movement. Neptune in Aries marks a subtle but profound shift where belief is no longer meant to remain abstract. As we approach and move through the energetic threshold of 2026, this transit asks a direct question of the collective and of you personally. What do you believe strongly enough to act on? Neptune governs dreams, illusions, spirituality, and the unseen currents that shape meaning. Aries governs initiation, courage, and identity. Together they dissolve passivity. This is not a loud revolution. It is a quiet ignition, the kind that starts within and changes direction without announcing itself. Many of you watching are feeling a strange restlessness. Not anxiety, but readiness. A sense that waiting no longer feels aligned, yet forcing action feels wrong. This tension is intentional. Neptune in Aries does not reward impulsive movement. It rewards inspired action, movement that rises from clarity rather than reaction. As the calendar edges closer to 2026, old spiritual identities begin to dissolve. You may find yourself questioning practices, beliefs, or labels that once felt meaningful. This is not loss. It is refinement. Neptune removes the performance from spirituality and leaves only what is lived. The emotional mirror here is subtle. Some feel disoriented. Others feel quietly emboldened. Many feel both. You may notice a growing intolerance for hypocrisy, especially your own. What you say you value now wants to be reflected in how you live. Any gap between belief and behavior becomes uncomfortable. That discomfort is the compass. What is being tested during this phase is authenticity, not perfection, authenticity. Are you willing to live your truth, even when it is inconvenient? Are you willing to lead your life from inner conviction rather than external approval? Neptune in Aries does not support borrowed courage. It cultivates embodied bravery. What should be avoided now is martyrdom. Neptune can blur boundaries and Aries can push too hard. Together, they can create the illusion that sacrifice equals virtue. It does not. Burning yourself out for a cause, a person, or an identity that is not aligned will lead to disillusionment. Sustainable action requires self-respect. There is also a collective dimension unfolding here. New movements emerge not through hierarchy but through resonance. People gather around shared values rather than shared enemies. Art, music, and storytelling become vehicles for healing and awakening. The collective dream shifts from escapism to engagement. Neptune in Aries also reshapes how we understand courage. Courage is no longer loud dominance. It is vulnerability with direction. It is choosing to act even when the outcome is uncertain, not because you are fearless, but because you are aligned. Here is the prophetic guidance you need to hear clearly. This phase isn't about proving who you are. It's about living it quietly, consistently, and without apology. The universe is watching how you embody your values, not how passionately you declare them. Many viewers may feel called to begin something new during this time. A project, a practice, a way of showing up in the world that feels more honest. You do not need a grand plan. Neptune in Aries favors beginnings that grow organically. Start small. Start true. Let momentum build naturally. At a deeper level, this transit dissolves illusions around identity. You are not who you were told to be. You are not the roles you learned to perform. You are becoming someone more integrated, someone who does not need permission to exist fully. If fear arises, observe it without judgment. Fear under this transit is often a signal that you are approaching something meaningful. Do not rush past it. Do not let it stop you. Let it inform you. As 2026 approaches, the collective begins to move from questioning into initiation. Ideas formed under Uranus and Gemini now seek embodiment. Values clarified under Pluto and Aquarius seek expression. Neptune in Aries provides the spark. In the next chapter, we will weave these forces together and explore how the major transits converge to shape the decades ahead, and how you can navigate this long arc with clarity, resilience, and quiet power. By the time we arrive at this chapter, the pattern should be clear. Nothing you are experiencing is isolated. Nothing is happening in fragments. The universe is moving in layers, and as we approach the heart of the 2026 timeline, those layers begin to converge. This is where individual experience meets collective destiny, and where preparation becomes more important than prediction. Jupiter and Saturn set the structural tone. Pluto reshapes power. Uranus rewires the mind. Neptune ignites inspired action. Together, these transits form a living system, and you are not outside of it. You are participating in it, whether consciously or unconsciously. Many viewers right now feel like they are standing between versions of themselves. The old identity no longer fits, but the new one has not fully arrived. This in-between space can feel uncomfortable, even lonely. Yet it is also fertile. It is where clarity forms before commitment. The emotional mirror here is quiet anticipation mixed with uncertainty. As we move through early 2026 energy, the universe emphasizes timing over urgency. You may feel pressure to decide, to commit, to move forward. But listen closely. Not everything requires immediate action. Some things require observation. Discernment is the currency of this era. What is being tested now is your ability to hold long-term perspective. Short-term wins lose their appeal. Quick fixes feel hollow. The question becomes, will this choice still make sense 10 years from now? This is not fear-based thinking. It is evolutionary thinking. What should be avoided during this convergence is fragmentation. Scattering your energy across too many directions will dilute your impact. The new era does not reward multitasking without meaning. It rewards coherence. Choose fewer things. Choose them with intention. Here is the prophetic guidance for this phase. This is not the time to force clarity. It is the time to refine alignment. The universe is quietly removing what distracts you so that what matters can come into focus. Trust that process. At a practical level, resilience becomes essential. Emotional resilience, mental resilience, spiritual resilience. This does not mean becoming hardened. It means becoming flexible without losing your center. Build routines that support your nervous system. Create boundaries around your time and attention. These are not luxuries. They are survival skills. Collectively, systems continue to evolve. Work, education, community, and identity all undergo restructuring. Those who adapt consciously experience empowerment. Those who resist blindly experience exhaustion. Adaptation here does not mean compliance. It means creative participation. You may notice a growing desire to contribute in meaningful ways, not to impress, not to accumulate, but to participate. This is the Aquarian imprint activating. Contribution becomes a form of belonging. Service becomes self-expression. As the decades unfold beyond 2026, The choices made during this period echo. Relationships formed now carry long-term significance. Skills developed now become foundational. Habits established now shape future freedom. If you feel a pull to simplify your life, honor it. Simplification is not loss. It is preparation. Clearing space allows new structures to form without resistance. As we approach the final chapters, we will explore how to move from awareness into embodiment and how to engage this long-term forecast not as fate, but as a partnership with the cosmos. By now, one truth should feel steady in your body. You are not here to endure this era. You are here to participate in shaping it. As the energetic field of 2026 becomes more defined, the universe shifts its question from "Are you awake?" to "How will you respond?" Reaction belongs to the old paradigm. Co-creation belongs to the one emerging now. Many viewers at this stage feel a heightened sensitivity to their own choices. Small decisions feel heavier than they used to. Words linger longer. Commitments carry more weight. This is not pressure. It is precision. The ripple effect has shortened the distance between intention and consequence. As we move deeper into the 2026 timeline, astrology reveals something subtle but essential. Fate is loosening its grip, not disappearing, but making room. The more consciously you engage, the more agency you experience. This is the gift hidden inside the discomfort of transition. What is being tested during this phase is accountability without self-punishment. Can you take responsibility for your energy without turning it into blame? Can you adjust course without judging the path that brought you here? The universe does not require guilt. It requires presence. What should be avoided now is unconscious repetition. Old coping patterns resurface when the nervous system feels threatened. Overworking, over-explaining, over-consuming, overthinking. These are not failures. They are signals. When they appear, pause. Something is asking to be acknowledged. Here is the prophetic guidance that grounds this chapter. This phase isn't about doing more. It's about doing with intention. The universe is responding to the quality of your attention, not the quantity of your effort. Practical navigation begins with awareness of rhythm. Your energy is not meant to be constant. Rest is not retreat. It is integration. Silence is not avoidance. It is recalibration. Honor your natural cycles. They align more closely with cosmic timing than rigid schedules ever could. At a relational level, co-creation requires honesty. Conversations become cleaner when you stop performing certainty. Vulnerability becomes strength when it is grounded, not reactive. You may notice some relationships drifting away. This is not abandonment. It is resonance changing. Collectively, people begin to self-organize in new ways. Communities form around shared values rather than shared fears. Leadership becomes facilitative instead of directive. Influence becomes collaborative instead of hierarchical. These shifts may appear subtle now, but they define the decades ahead. On a spiritual level, co-creation means listening before acting. Intuition sharpens when the mind quiets. Signs become clearer when desperation fades. The universe communicates through timing, not urgency. If you are feeling called to take a step forward, check its source. Is it inspired or is it pressured? Inspired action feels calm even when it's bold. Pressured action feels frantic even when it looks successful. As we approach the final chapter, remember this. You are not required to have everything figured out. You are required to stay awake to what feels true. The rest unfolds through relationship with time. In the final chapter, we will bring this journey to its closing arc, not with prediction, but with perspective, and a call to step forward consciously into the long future that begins now. By the time you arrive here, something should feel quieter inside you. Not resolved, not finished, but steadier. That is how long-term alignment feels. It does not rush. It does not demand certainty. It simply settles into place. This final chapter is not about forecasting events. It is about anchoring perspective as you step into the future that has already begun forming around you. As we stand at the edge of the 2026 era, the universe offers a rare invitation to stop living reactively, to stop interpreting change as threat, to recognize that what is unfolding is not designed to break you, but to mature you. The Great Conjunction planted the seeds. Pluto in Aquarius is restructuring the roots. Uranus in Gemini is rewiring the mind. Neptune in Aries is igniting purpose. Together, they form a long arc of evolution that stretches far beyond any single year. And you are not late to this process. You are right on time. Many viewers reaching this point feel a subtle release, a sense that the pressure to become someone specific is easing. In its place is a quieter directive. Be coherent. Be awake. Be honest with yourself. This is the emotional signature of alignment. Here is what is being tested at this closing threshold. Trust in timing. Not blind trust, but informed trust. The kind that comes from observing patterns rather than forcing outcomes. The universe is no longer rewarding hustle without meaning. It is rewarding patience with clarity. What should be avoided now is fixation on certainty. The future will not arrive fully explained. It will arrive through experience. Trying to control every variable will drain your energy. Learning to respond consciously will multiply it. The prophetic guidance for this moment is simple, but not easy. This phase isn't about becoming more. It's about becoming more true. The universe is watching how consistently you live in alignment, not how loudly you declare it. As the years beyond 2026 unfold, the people who thrive will not be those who predicted everything correctly. They will be the ones who stayed flexible without losing their values, curious without losing discernment, connected without losing themselves. Your role in this era is not to carry the weight of the world. It is to participate in it consciously, to choose clarity over noise, integrity over performance, presence over panic. These choices shape reality in ways you may not see immediately, but will feel later. If you look back on this period years from now, you will likely realize that the most important changes were internal. Your relationship to fear, to authority, to time, to yourself. And once those change, the external world responds. Before we close, I want to speak directly to you. If you found yourself here at this moment, hearing these words, it is not coincidence. You are already listening differently. That is how the future finds those who are ready. If this message resonated, take a moment to anchor it. Share it with someone who feels the shift but can't yet name it. Subscribe to Celestial Insight to stay aligned with these long-range cosmic currents. and return to this message when the path feels unclear. Because some guidance is not meant to be consumed once. It is meant to meet you again at a later version of yourself.